This is Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski.
We are unpacking today the bizarre and infuriating twists of the Long Island serial killer case. A true crime cocktail shaken with equal parts disturbing mystery, police corruption, and a suspect who hid in plain sight for decades. After more than a decade of investigation, hitting dead ends, why was it suddenly so simple to put the pieces together? And was the biggest obstacle to justice actually the people who were supposed to provide it? Here to help us make sense of the behaviors, motivation, and the spectacular law enforcement missteps in this unsettling case, retired FBI Special Agent, Chief of the Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program, Robin Dreeke. Robin, let's start with something that hasn't, let's start with something here that's been bugging all of us. How does a serial killer manage to live in an unassuming life for over a decade, seemingly right under law enforcement's nose, having a wife, having kids, interacting with the public, and all the while, nobody has any idea this is the guy?
That's a great question, isn't it? And every one of these cases brings different individuals into play, and obviously suspects like Heuermann. But I think with him, it's kind of unique in the fact that I think I'm going to use a phraseology here that I don't think we've used before, and that is I think he groomed society into normalcy with his behavior, because he was doing this for such a long time. And the only reason I think that is because I think he groomed his family into what was normal for him. You know, baby steps at the very beginning, as you know, James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits. He didn't go from zero to murder, zero to serial killer. It was a slow grooming from normalizing unhealthy behavior. And I think what was happening was, as he groomed his family into this, then he started grooming his community into this. He holds a good job as an architect. And so I think people start making excuses for behavior over periods of time. Oh, it's just quirky. Oh, it's just this. So I really think he groomed society into his normal behavior so they could dismiss it until it became too much. And then it's like the dam that was holding back the floodwaters finally just opened up and went goosh. But again, a lot of missteps along the way, obviously with investigators and things like that added to that ability to groom. But I really think he groomed society into his normal behavior.
Like he had a sense of where he could go, who he could groom, basically, and who he could take advantage of as well. Having, I guess, knowledge of the sex worker community, and lack of care, I would say, from society, lack of care from law enforcement in that specific area, and really as a whole in many places. If you go after the lowest common denominator or the weakest link, you can get away with doing a lot of horrible things to people that are very innocent, may not necessarily be the people society deems as the most upstanding, but human beings that are living lives that are having trouble, that they're going down those roads. And he just seemed to take advantage of them and knew that there was a path to do it.
100%. Matter of fact, this area that he groomed and utilized for his own horrendous pleasure is, like you said, it's the sex trade. It's the sex workers. It's those women that have been so disenfranchised by society. And I looked at the numbers on this about a couple years ago now, because, you and I have covered a couple serial rapists in the past and serial sex offender rapists. And the numbers are absolutely horrendous. And this is why he took advantage of this. And that is, I'm given just off the top of my head, I know it's not going to be completely accurate, but it's somewhere in the realm of, I think around 80% or 85% of all sex workers are trafficked. These women have been tracked. This is not, as society thinks, a choice women have made to do this. The vast majority have been trafficked into this by horrendous individuals. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, which even cascades even worse on top of that, I think about 90 to 95% of them have been raped. And you wouldn't think that from someone in that trade, but absolutely against their will, they've been raped. So they've been trafficked, they've been raped. And so then you take the stigma of horrible label and you place it onto someone, you objectify the human being. So there's a lack of personalization, and it's easy for society to shove them aside.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to ignore them. It's easy to take advantage of them, like Heuermann was. And as we've seen allegations in law enforcement from time to time that they have too. I have covered so many cases where, for one thing, the distrust that industry will have towards law enforcement because of either being taken advantage of by law enforcement, being ignored by law enforcement, or being arrested themselves by law enforcement, that they won't volunteer information that would be in their own best interest.
Mm-hmm.
And also from their own side, their own people in oversight or pimps or whatever you want to call them, the fear factor is immense with this totally horrendously disenfranchised group of women. My heart goes out every time we cover a case like this.
The fact that he was able to carry this out for all of this time, and the fact that, you know, sometimes there was, allegedly, it seems like there was people that he had seen more than once, people that he never killed as well. Is there a factor in this, you know, behaviorally and psychologically, where someone like Rex Heuermann, kind of a socially outcast a bit? You know, he's not necessarily the guy that's popular at the party. He's kind of looked at, I mean, we look at him now and we profile him. We look, oh, he's kind of a big ogre guy. Before anybody knew he was, or allegedly is, the Long Island serial killer, if he is. You know, I'm sure he dealt with a lot of people in society and life looking at him and kind of putting him down and judging him for his looks and his personality and such. And then you have that same sort of thing going on with the disenfranchised women who have been trafficked, who have gotten into the sex trade because they don't have any other choice. Is there like a level there where there's some sort of commiserating, some sort of, you know, almost trauma bonding that goes on that allows both of those individuals to have a certain level of trust with one another that would then enable Rex allegedly to carry out the deeds that he was able to do, because both kind of being outcasts, if you will, in society?
Maybe it's an interesting thought. I think definitely a potential linkage there would be unhealthy behaviors attract other unhealthy behaviors, and
Sure.
unhealthy people do. So I think, you know, that's part of it. So there's a normalcy from the type of clients you'll have. There's a normalcy from the type of women that were now accepted in his life, because when you desensitize your environment towards your behavior and towards your proclivities, like he allegedly was doing by having, I mean, decades ago started this behavior allegedly with sex trafficked women, you know, desensitizing his own family, so it becomes part of the normal behavior. That's definitely part of it. But trauma bonding as well, yeah, potentially, because the women that he was targeting, again, vast majority, well, I'm going to say in the 90% have been trauma bonded to whoever's controlling them at that point as well. So they're very used to it, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's a slow cook for trying to get your family to go along with you on, and I'm not saying that the family knew what he was up to, but obviously, I mean, look at the home that they lived in, look at the kind of hoarding type lifestyle that they had. And just it's almost like a view into Rex's mind, if you will, with a reflection of the home and the environment that he surrounded himself in. Chaos, a lot of chaos. It seems that it's probably not all that difficult to get your family to go down this road with you if you slowly inch them there. It's the frog in the boiling pot of water and such. Is that what we saw going on here with Rex Heuermann? Likely the way that everyone at the beginning, I mean, including us, looking at Asa, even looking at the adult kids going, how did you not know something was going on here? And I don't to this day know if she did. I certainly have questions about it. It seems rather weirdly inconvenient that she was out of town every time that these things were going on, and they seem to have this own kind of duality of separate lives. But if that's the norm for you. And I guess that would be a way that you don't see what is going on behind the curtain.
Yeah, you used the phrase going down the road with you. I don't think I would use the exact going down the road with you thought process here. What I think might have been going on is, remember, all of us are extremely predictable, all human beings, and that is we crave and we will do all behaviors we can to feel safe. And so I think what was most likely happening, again, subjective third-party conjecture on my part, not licensed psychologist
Sure.
and all that, but I think what was happening is if you have a wife and children that feel unsafe because of the environments or the behaviors of your spouse, your father, and all these things that you're slowly groomed into, what you're going to do is you're going to start getting reps at ignoring behavior, because observing and acknowledging that behavior would make you feel unsafe, would make you feel less than. It would do all the things that would psychologically harm you. And so we naturally start doing things to ignore that behavior. So when you start getting a muscle memory of how to ignore behaviors that you're observing that you've been slowly groomed into, that's exactly what I think was happening. I think everything's a choice, but I don't think they were consciously at the point at the very end choosing to ignore behavior or going down a road with him. I just think they had a long decades worth of reps of learning how to feel better about themselves and feel safe in a completely unhealthy environment.
Yeah, I mean, it's survival at the end of the day, and your mind will adapt to do however it needs to get by.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Brueski and the Hidden Killers podcast.